Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. I am Ama Mama, and today, as I had mentioned on my last video, I am going through all of the books that were on this little shelf behind me that I have not read, and then a very small haul from Barnes & Noble that I did. First off, I just have to say that I was very overwhelmed uh, when I took all of these books off my shelf. I knew that I had a lot, and I knew there were a lot of like short stories and Stephen King things that I've collected, and then some books that had been gifted to me. But as I started going through my stacks, I don't think I realized how many it actually was when they were no longer on the bookcase. So I'm not really going through these in any particular order, and some I won't spend a ton of time on, just because there are quite a few of them. So I don't know how long this will actually take to go through all of these. But I'm going to start with a bunch of books that I had gotten last Christmas from my sister, and I've read a few of them, not the ones that I have in this stack that I'm about to go through. There were some other ones though that I had already finished, but my one of my sisters had heard that I had enjoyed, I think it was Along Came a Spider by James Patterson, and so she got me an entire series. I think she got me almost every Alex Cross book that there was. I'm sure there's more than this. I hadn't really read that many of them, and so now I have several of them to read. So I'm hoping these all show up okay. I haven't done this before, but this first one is Target, Alex Cross, and I don't think these are in the order that they're in. I'm not even sure if you have to read these in a certain order. I tried to the ones that I started, I tried to read them a little bit chronologically just because that's how I am, but I'm not sure if they have to be. I think they're all kind of standalone, but I think it helps if you know who the characters are to an extent. But then we have Cross the Line by James Patterson. So all of these next ones are Cross books. So Cross My Heart, The People versus Alex Cross, Crisscross, Alex Cross Run, Hope to Die, Alex Cross, Cross Justice. This one's the toughest cases are ones that hit closest to home. So the ones that I've read, and I think I have them on one of my other bookcases, but the ones that I've read so far, they were really good. I enjoy thrillers. I guess these are kind of mystery / thrillers. I don't know. Maybe they're not really mystery. I don't read a lot of mystery books, so I think maybe these fall more into kind of like a thriller category. And I do enjoy them, but some of them, I don't know. Sometimes when the content is more realistic in some ways, they stress me out a little bit more. And so, not that these are completely realistic, but there was one that I read that involved like the kidnapping of a couple of kids, and so sometimes that stresses me out a little bit. But I have enjoyed the ones that I've read, so I'm hoping these will be good. But there are a lot of them. I mean, just these alone, I've got 3, 6, I don't know, 8 Alex Cross books. So then I'm gonna go through. I have just some kind of random books that I don't know. They're just random books. So I'll go through these. So this one was also a Christmas gift that I got. Long Live the Pumpkin Queen. It's part of Tim Burton's The Night Before Christmas. So I'm actually excited to read this one coming up with the fall and Halloween, just because it's one that I enjoy the movies and stuff, and so I'm hoping the book is good. We'll see. It doesn't really have a lot, on the cover and stuff. I know there's stuff on the inside. I haven't really read through it, but it was a Christmas gift that I got from one of my nephews. So hopefully that'll be good. And then the next one I have is Thunder of Heaven by Ted Dekker. I have the first book in the Divergent series. I've seen the movies. I've never read the books. It's one that my daughter actually had the copy of this, and so I want to read this. The next one I have is A Man Called Blessed. This is also, it's Bill Bright and also Ted Dekker, who did the Martyr Song series, so I'm hoping I will enjoy that, but I don't know when I'll get to that one. I'm going to go, okay, these next ones, they're still, I don't know if I'd call them random, but it's kind of a combo of some, I don't know, biography, autobiography type books, and then just like some general fiction. This one that I have, it's not a very long book, but I've never actually read the whole thing. It's The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And then I love old books, and I love, I don't know, sometimes I think I love the idea of some books more than I love to actually read them, so I've collected things that maybe I haven't gotten to, but I've got the Purgatorio by Dante, and then Firefly Lane, and then I have, this is actually 3 books in one. This is Life Lessons from Corrie ten Boom, Trevor Noah's Born a Crime, and then I have a couple other just random books that had been recommended to me. So I've got this book, it's called She, Five Keys to Unlock the Power of Women in Ministry by Carolyn Lewis. This had been recommended to me, and so honestly I haven't even opened it. And then another one I've got, Laughter In, which is crossed out, and then Is a Sacred Space by Ted Schwartz. Now, some of these next ones, it's a lot of Stephen King. I had gone to, back when I lived in Arizona, I just collected these at random times as I don't know, as I go shopping. If I see a Stephen King book that I don't own, I have a bad habit of buying it, even when I know that I have so many that I have not read yet, and I can't help it because I love Stephen King. However, when my anxiety is really bad, I have a very hard time reading his stuff because some of it is really scary to me. I don't know, maybe that's just, or maybe I'm just spooked easy. I think it's a combination of that. So I love it, but at the same time, I don't know, I get freaked out easy. So some of these I couldn't even really tell you what they're about. Some of them I might have seen shows on, and otherwise I just got them because they were Stephen King. So I have The Long Walk by Stephen King. I have The Outsider, and then I've got another one, Stephen King, Elevation. Stephen King, If It Bleeds. I have Stephen King, The Talisman, Stephen King, Revival. Told you, a lot of Stephen King. Stephen King, Needful Things. Stephen King, The Green Mile. And this one I did see the movie a very, very long time ago. And I have this on my shelf if I haven't read it, but I'm feeling like, as I was pulling these out earlier today to kind of stack them up a little bit and see what I had, I might have actually read this. I think I might have read this, but I think it was so long ago that I forgot that I read it. So that might actually need to just go back up on a different bookshelf. So we'll see. And then I've got Bag of Bones, and I don't know if you have noticed, but a lot of these books are huge. They're like a lot. Like this one's almost 530 pages, and I don't know. I think I like the idea that I like really big books, and so I don't know. Sometimes I feel like the bigger the book is, the more likely I am to buy it, which probably makes zero sense because I don't know, depending on the mood I'm in, then sometimes I get overwhelmed when I'm like, oh, why did I get that book that has like a gajillion pages? But I do that. So and then I've got Stephen King, The Tommyknockers. Okay, so that takes care of just like my kind of thriller. I was trying to see kind of just my thriller horror books that I have. So at some point, I'm going to try to put together a little bit of a TBR for August. I know we're partway through the month already, but I feel like I need to start somewhere. So I want to kind of start with that. But I have some other books, though, that are going to go in that August TBR because I want to save more of the spooky ones kind of for Halloween stuff because I love holidays in general, but mostly Halloween and Christmas. Those are like my big ones. So I'm gonna save some of these, but I definitely have some other ones that are gonna be in that list. Before I get to like my last big one, I have two smaller stacks, and I just realized I think I have a couple books that I forgot them somewhere. I don't know where I put them, y'all. They're somewhere. These next ones are like the romance ones that I have. I have Out to Canaan by Jan Caron. The next books that I have, and I have two more that aren't with me. I don't know where I set them, but they're all by the same person, Debbie McComber. And I have these because these were actually my mom's books, and she passed away in April. And Debbie McComber was her favorite writer, one of her favorite writers, and so I have these on my TBR, and they might be some of the ones that I try to read in August, just because they are, at least these two, are more, I don't know, spring, summery kind of covers, and they're, romance and stuff like that. But Summer on Blossom Street is this one. And then this next one is 92 Pacific Boulevard, and it's a Cedar Grove Cove novel. So I think this one might be part of a series, but I haven't really looked to see. But there's a couple other ones. I think I have Mr. Miracle, and I don't know. I don't know if anybody watches like the Hallmark Christmas kind of movies. That's pretty much the only time I watch Hallmark because, like I said, I love Christmas stuff, and so I will watch when I have time some of the Hallmark Christmas movies. Yes, I do. But Mrs. Miracle was turned into a movie, and so I have another one which is Mr. Miracle, also by Debbie McComber, that I'll read during Christmas. But I don't remember what the other one was, but it was definitely like a wintry book based on the cover. But all those were Debbie McComber. Then the next one in this stack, I have The Sun and the Star, and it's a Nico D'Angelo adventure. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, guys. It's Rick Riordan is how I say it. I don't know if that's correct. And then Mark Ashiro, maybe. But this is new, and I'm really looking forward to reading this. I had read when my oldest daughter was young, we had read the Percy Jackson series, and then he did another series that is the Olympians, I think it is, and it's like the Roman side of the Greek gods, and so you kind of get some of the stories from a different angle, but he has tied all the characters together, and so Nico D'Angelo is one of the characters in that Percy Jackson series, and so I'm excited because Nico is one of my favorite characters in those books. But I've been waiting on this because I started reading the Percy Jackson series again with my youngest, who is now 10, and I want to finish rereading that series before I start this one. And then I had mentioned in my other video that I had more recently discovered that I like fantasy. I don't think you'd call them sci-fi. I guess you'd just call them fantasy, like fantasy books. And I do really like series, I think, because I like being able to, I think I mentioned, I like being able to get, kind of lost in the story for long periods of time and stuff like that. But I've been trying to find other fantasy books that I like because I don't know who, I don't know who I like. And so, or really what kind I like exactly. And so I picked this up just because I thought the cover was kind of cool. And I don't know if it's part of a series. It's Sign of the, I don't know, Owen? It's Oin by L.G. Bass. I'm not sure who that is, but it's another fantasy book. And so again, it's one that I'm looking forward to reading, but I don't even remember where I picked this up. I might have gotten this at the used bookstore also. Then I have the last of my big stack from this shelf. And people, I told you, I like books, and I like big books, and I like Stephen King, and I like scary stories until I'm too spooked to read them, and then I don't know. I have all these, and I'm sorry if you can hear my dog barking in the background because I think the neighbors are moving their trash cans in. But this first one, so this stack that I have, which I know you can't really see, but I'm sitting on the floor, so it's a big stack. But these are all like short stories, and they're compilations and such, and they're things that I've picked up because I thought, oh, I'm going to read that. So this first one is Miss Marple, The Complete Short Stories by Agatha Christie. Not much on the cover here. This is one that I've never really read anything of her by her, but my mom loved Agatha Christie. My mom really liked mysteries, so she read a lot of mysteries, and I haven't. So I don't know if I'm going to enjoy that or not, and maybe that's why I haven't read it yet, because I'm not sure how I feel about mysteries. So we'll see. The next one I have here, this is Haunted Heartland, and it's True Ghost Stories from the American Midwest by Brent Scott and Michael Norman. So again, I like spooky things until it comes right down to maybe reading them, and then I'm not so sure if I like them or not. And so I have this book that I'm gonna read all of these. That is my goal over the next, I don't know, we'll just say year. We'll say year. Over the next year, my goal is to throw out all the things that I actually know I want to read and that I'll enjoy, that I'm gonna try to start like narrowing down and getting these books off of my shelf. So, okay, this next one. Do you see? It's a beast, guys. It's The Complete Tales and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe. I keep holding this in the wrong spot. But look, I mean, can you see how fat this is? I don't even know. Let's see. This book's got 842 pages. And I know that there's poems and there's stories, and I feel like this is just not going to be, none of these are going to be quick reads that I can just, I don't think any of these other ones in the short stories stack, none of these are going to be books that I just pick up and read cover to cover. I think these are all going to be ones that I probably am going to read a story or two, and then it will be put down, and I will come back to it at some point in my life. Hopefully this year. That's my goal. So then I have Stephen King, Skeleton Crew. More Stephen King. I told you, if I see Stephen King, I get it if I don't already have it. So Stephen King, Skeleton Crew. These are a bunch of short stories. Then this one was actually my daughter's, and I think it got left here, and I have it on my TBR because, again, it's spooky. Hell House and Other True Hauntings from Around the World by Alison Rattle and Alison Bale. I mean, look at the cover. Like, so creepy. And again, I like the idea of creepy stuff, especially around Halloween. But when it comes right down to it, I haven't psyched myself up to read it because I'm afraid I'm going to scare myself, and then I'm not going to be able to sleep. And I already don't always sleep great. So, I don't know. So adding to that doesn't sound fun. but then I really love the way it looks. And I like being spooked until I'm actually spooked. I don't know. I'm like that with scary movies. Is anybody else like that? Like, do you like the idea of being spooked until you're actually spooked and then it's not so fun anymore? Maybe I don't know. I'm beginning to wonder, maybe I'm just a little crazy, but that's kind of where I'm going. Then I've got Stephen King. Again, this is another series of short stories. This is Everything's Eventual. There's 14 dark tales in here, so another one that I'll read. Then this one, I think I picked it up. Yeah, this was a library sale when my husband was in, I don't know, doing his undergrad. DeVry had, I don't even know why DeVry had this book, but they were selling it, and so I picked up the complete short stories of Mark Twain, because why not? Because it was probably dirt cheap, and I've never opened it. I probably read some Twain in school. I do have my undergrad in English lit, and so I know, yeah, like, oh yeah, I've definitely read some of these, but I have that to read. Then I have The Treasury of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. In this particular book, it's got 2 novels and 27 short stories. And so I've read, I couldn't remember which ones I had read exactly, but I've finished the actual novels that are in here, which were A Study in Scarlet and The Hounds of Baskervilles. And I really, really liked them. And then I had started, did I get started on? Yeah, I had started one of the short stories, or a couple of the short stories in here. But again, short stories, I like the idea of them, but they're short. And I like reading books cover to cover, and so I think when it's short, now I can't talk. When it's short stories and I get to the end of it, sometimes it makes me feel like, okay, I finished that story, and so now I'm done with the book, even though there's more stories, because then I want to pick up a book that's like an actual full book and not a short story. So I think these short stories are going to have to be kind of interspersed with other things. Then this book I have had since I was in high school, so long time ago, believe it or not, a long time ago. Been out of high school for like over 20 years. But Alfred Hitchcock presents Stories to Stay Awake, and this is 35 startling, frightening, suspenseful, and chilling exercises in the art of murder and suspense. So I really like Alfred Hitchcock. I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember, but they used to have the TV show Alfred Hitchcock Presents, which was actually before my time, but I like old movies and old shows too, so that's probably why I know that. But I've had this for a long time. I've definitely read some of them, but I don't know if I've read all of them, so it's one that I need to look through. Then I have a selection of stories and poems by Kipling, and so I've read The Jungle Book, but I don't think I've finished everything in this, so I need to look through this. And then the last one in my short stories section is I have 44 Irish short stories, an anthology of Irish short fiction from Yeats to Frank O'Connor, and this was edited by Devin Garrity. And so my family comes from Ireland and Scotland on my mom's side. Oh, and I see way over here this other stack of books that I knew I had. The romance ones. But so I picked up this book of Irish stories because, again, why not? They had it. So then, yeah, Mr. Miracle that I'd mentioned by Debbie McComber, and then the other one by Debbie McComber. This is part of a series, but it's The Midnight Suns, which I haven't read any of these, but Brides for Brothers and the Marriage Risks. So I think this is actually 2 books in one in this book, but these ones are kind of Christmassy, so that's why I'd set them aside, because I thought I would hold on to these and read them around Christmas time. And then A Christmas Carol. I don't know why, but I've never actually read A Christmas Carol. Like I've seen so many variations on this uh, than I could even remember, and yet I don't think I've ever read it. So that's all the stuff that I already owned, and then and then I went to Barnes and Noble because I've been watching a lot of BookTube and seeing lots of different books, and it made me get really excited to want to go and buy even more books that I obviously needed more of. But so I picked up some books that I want to get read, um, hopefully in August if I can. But again, I might be being way too aggressive with what I think I'm going to read this month. I'll do a full like TBR along with what I actually think I'm going to try to read in August, as well as a couple of the books that I have already read this month. But one of the new ones I picked up was Beach Read by Emily Henry. And again, I've seen a lot of people who have read this, and I've heard both good and bad things, and so I just wanted to read it myself because a lot of my books are old, and I wanted to expand my horizons on authors as well, because as you can see, I'm really, when I find somebody that I like, I just kind of go a little crazy getting stuff by them, and so I have a lot of books by several of the same people. So I feel like I need to expand my reading horizons a little bit. So that's the other reason why I'm really glad that I found BookTube recently, because I didn't know. I knew all these books were out there, but I'm always a little like sketchy about trying new books because I hate it when I get books and I start reading them and I realize I don't like them, because I have a tendency to force myself to read things even if I hate them because I started them, and that's what I don't want to do. Anyways, the next one I got is The Theory of Not Quite Everything by Cara Node. I hope I'm saying that name right. And so I have that to read, and then I have another Emily Henry, Happy Place, that I want to read. And then the last one I keep seeing everywhere, and the person working at the bookstore highly recommended this as well, Fourth Wing by Rebecca, I believe it's Yaros. And so I don't know which one I want to read first, but I definitely want to read this as well. So that is that is everything on my small bookcase. So now I've got to put everything back, and I will, like I said, I'm gonna put together a list of what I want to actually try to read for the month of August, and I have my goal. I want to get it through at least 5 books, and I know that may seem little, but it's been a while since I've had time to read that much, and more recently I find that I have more time, and so I want to get back into reading and start reading more than what I have been. So I hope you all enjoyed this little overview of the books on my physical TBR, along with the little miniature Barnes and Noble haul that I just did recently. And I hope you will stick around, continue with this on this journey with me, and we'll see what happens, especially with my stack of all of my Stephen King and all of these short stories, because I was feeling a little overwhelmed when I actually pulled them off my shelf and realized just how much I had. So anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Bye.